These Spanish olives are what national pride is made of. Spain is the biggest producer and exporter of olive oil in the world. And in early January, when China's vice premier came to Spain, a trade deal to export several thousand tons of Spanish olive oil was among the dozen key business agreements signed between the two countries. But can these olives save Spain? Or more specifically, can they save Spain from defaulting on its sovereign debt? China's bank, the biggest in the world, is now in Madrid. And besides trade agreements, China also bought 6 billion euros worth of Spain's sovereign debt, which stands at some 320 billion euros. Spain's government and business leaders have praised these deals as good news for the Spanish economy. But is it enough for one of the EU member states hit hardest by the economic crisis? Manuel del Pozo Manzano is the deputy editor for the economic paper Expansión.
It is not enough. It is not enough because the Spanish economy has two serious problems. One is political credibility, and the other is financial credibility. So it's very important that a country like China is willing to bet on Spain. But I think the government will have to take further measures afterwards. So other countries like Germany and France, other European countries, have confidence in Spain and the Spanish economy, and buy some of the Spanish public debt.
This apartment complex, some 30 kilometers south of Madrid in Cesena, is a bleak reminder as to why financial and political credibility are hard words to swallow not only outside but inside Spain. Almost 14,000 apartments were built here 4 years ago, but today less than 3,000 have been sold. The developer left for Africa. Boarded-up windows bear testimony to Spain's spectacular construction boom gone bust, an industry that during its glory years accounted for 1/5 of all jobs created. But today more than 4 million Spaniards are out of work, like this man who came from Colombia 11 years ago.
La crisis económica aquí ha sido muy fuerte.
The economic crisis has hit us hard here. There's my wife, my 20-year-old son, and my daughter who's 8. At the moment, neither my wife, nor I, nor our son is in work. We're claiming benefits. All our friends, all my ex-colleagues are in the same situation. The truth is that at the moment most companies know we need to work, so they can offer ridiculously low salaries.
This is one of Madrid's unemployment bureaus. While the doors open at 9 a.m., the queue starts a lot earlier. The latest figures reveal that 20% of Spain's workforce is unemployed. That's twice the EU average and the highest among Eurozone members. And 1 out of 4 workers have some form of temporary contract. Many also work undeclared.
In my last job, I was the caretaker for a building. But because I was ill, I had to take sick leave, and at the end of it, I lost my job. Now I'm unemployed, and it's been 2 years already.
I hope things sort themselves out because things are quite bad. There are very few opportunities, very few jobs. You pass interviews, you then have to pass 5 or 6 selection processes. They want people who speak foreign languages, who know IT, marketing functions, journalism, for a salary of 900 euros a month. So it's clear you have to say yes because it's better than nothing. But I'm sending out CVs all over Spain. I don't even mind moving, but even when I have an interview I go, they don't call me back. I have to do even more, and I don't know how long it's going to last. There is a sort of optimism here, but I think the reality is that we're not going to get out of this crisis, at least this year. I think it will be hard if the government doesn't change its way of doing things. Me, I do have hope. As an optimistic person, I say yes, but as a realist, I say no. And that's what people on the street think. How
to create jobs while cutting back on public spending but raising taxes? This is the reality Spain's 45 million people face in the wake of a government austerity plan aimed at reducing its sovereign debt. A plan similar to those introduced by Greece and Ireland last year to qualify for EU and IMF bailouts. But the other reality is that Spain has the fourth biggest economy in the Eurozone, an economy too big to bail out.
If Zapatero doesn't make some big changes to pensions and make the labour market more flexible, then a financial bailout will be the only solution. Effectively, for a socialist government like Zapatero's, it's the type of reform which means cutting social benefits, and that means losing votes. It's perceived badly electorally, especially as this year there'll be regional and local elections and next year national elections. But in this case the reforms are necessary. If there are no reforms, Europe will have to come to Spain's rescue.
Reforms, jobs, credibility. Key obstacles for a government being closely watched by Europe, but also by Spaniards such as Pablo Pino Martin. He lost his job repairing printing and copy machines 3 years ago. When his unemployment benefits ran out, he managed to get a part-time job in a shop, but not enough to find an apartment. He lives with his mother. He's divorced with 2 children. For Pablo, the main culprit behind Spain's economic crisis is the euro.
I think the crisis in Spain began with the euro, not with what came afterwards. In Spain, the cost of living went up with the introduction of the euro, but salaries didn't go up. They stayed the same as they had been with the peseta. Even when your salary went up, you were still talking pesetas at the beginning, not euros. So life has changed a lot. After the euro was the housing crisis, and we can see it here. There are some very expensive houses, yet salaries are still ridiculously low in relation to the cost of living.
We talk about economic and monetary union. It's not true. Well, monetary, yes. The only thing we have in common is the single currency, the euro. But the economic situation is very different, and in the end each country looks after its own interests, and not the interests of the rest of the European Union. And that's Europe's big problem, and that's why speculators work against Europe, because it is not united.
While national interests may divide Europe's economic union, the hope is that a united Europe will stop the speculators before the single monetary project and its weaker links are beyond repair.